In Hollywood, beauty can open every door. But what happens when the quest for perfection goes too far? These 15 iconic stars were once the faces of glamour and fame. But behind the scenes, they fell victim to the pressures of staying forever young. From subtle tweaks to shocking transformations, their stories reveal a darker side of fame, where plastic surgery promised confidence but delivered regret. This is more than a tale of changing faces. It's a warning about a world obsessed with appearances. Stay with us as we reveal the stars who paid the ultimate price for chasing perfection. Marilyn Monroe, the hidden scars of an icon. When we think of Marilyn Monroe, we picture timeless beauty, blonde curls, red lips, and a smile that defined an era. But behind that iconic image was a young woman shaped by Hollywood's harsh standards. Early in her career, Marilyn underwent subtle plastic surgeries, a chin implant, and a nose refinement to fit the industry's idea of perfection. It wasn't talked about back then, but the pressure to enhance her looks was real. In 2013, decades after her passing, Marilyn's medical records were revealed at auction, confirming what many had only whispered about. These documents showed that even the most beautiful woman in the world was told she wasn't enough as she was. The surgeries were considered minor, but they marked the beginning of a lifetime spent battling insecurities fueled by fame and public expectations. Though her transformed appearance helped her career skyrocket, it came at a personal cost. Marilyn constantly worried about her image, knowing that Hollywood praised her for a version of herself that wasn't entirely natural. She once said, "Hollywood is a place where they'll pay you $1,000 for a kiss and 50 cents for your soul." Those words reflected more than just the movie business. They revealed the emotional price of altering her identity to stay relevant. Marilyn's story is a reminder that even the most glamorous stars weren't immune to the pressure to change. While she remains a beauty icon today, few realize that her journey with plastic surgery was one of the earliest examples of Hollywood pushing impossible standards that left lasting scars, both seen and unseen. While Marilyn's changes were subtle, others weren't so lucky. For some stars, plastic surgery didn't just tweak their looks, it transformed them entirely. And no story captures that better than the heartbreaking shift of America's sweetheart, Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan, from America's sweetheart to unrecognizable. In the 1990s, Meg Ryan was the queen of romantic comedies. With her bright smile and effortless charm, she became the face of films like When Harry Met Sally and Sleepless in Seattle. But as the years passed, Meg, like many actresses, faced the brutal reality of Hollywood's obsession with youth. In the early 2000s, fans began noticing changes in her appearance that sparked endless media speculation. Meg reportedly turned to cosmetic procedures in an attempt to maintain her youthful look. However, instead of subtle enhancements, her facial features began to shift noticeably. Her once natural expressions appeared tighter, and her signature smile looked different. The public reaction was swift and harsh. Critics claimed she had ruined her face, and tabloids were relentless in pointing out every change. For Meg, the experience was painful. Though she never confirmed every procedure, she addressed the criticism by saying, "I love my age. I love my life right now." Still, it was clear that the pressure to look young had pushed her toward choices she may not have made in a world without constant judgment. The very industry that built her up was now tearing her down for trying to meet its impossible standards. Today, Meg Ryan lives a quieter life, largely stepping away from the Hollywood spotlight. Her story is a powerful example of how fame, beauty expectations, and the fear of aging can collide, leaving behind not just physical changes, but emotional scars. What began as an effort to preserve her image became a cautionary tale about the dangers of chasing perfection in a world that's never satisfied. For some stars, plastic surgery wasn't about vanity, it was about survival. When Mickey Rourke traded Hollywood for the boxing ring, he didn't just risk his career, he risked his face. and his journey with surgery would take a much darker turn. Mickey Rourke, the boxer's battle with the scalpel. At one point, Mickey Rourke was known as one of Hollywood's most handsome leading men. With films like 9½ Weeks and Angel Heart, his rugged good looks and raw talent made him a star. But in the early 90s, Mickey walked away from acting to pursue a career in professional boxing, a decision that would change his life and his face forever. Boxing wasn't kind to Mickey. After several brutal matches, he suffered multiple facial injuries, including broken cheekbones and a smashed nose. To repair the damage, he turned to plastic surgeons. But what started as necessary reconstruction quickly spiraled into a series of procedures that left him almost unrecognizable. "I went to the wrong guy to put my face back together," Mickey later admitted, expressing deep regret over the results. Over the years, Mickey underwent numerous surgeries, not just to fix the damage, but also to correct previous operations gone wrong. His once celebrated appearance became a subject of media mockery, overshadowing his talent. When he returned to acting, roles were harder to come by, and he was often cast in parts that focused on his altered looks rather than his skills. Despite the setbacks, Mickey made a remarkable comeback with his role in The Wrestler, 2008, earning critical acclaim. But even with his professional resurgence, the emotional weight of his surgical journey lingered. His story isn't one of vanity. It's one of survival, regret, and the harsh reality of trusting the wrong hands in a desperate moment. While Mickey's transformation was born from injury, others made changes in search of perfection and lost something far more valuable in the process. No story shows this better than Jennifer Grey, whose decision to alter one small feature cost her an entire career. Jennifer Grey, the nose job that erased a career. In 1987, Jennifer Grey became a star overnight, with her role as Baby in Dirty Dancing. Audiences fell in love with her natural beauty and unique charm. But in a town obsessed with perfection, Jennifer's distinctive nose became a topic of discussion, not just among critics, but within Hollywood itself. Despite her success, she was told that a smaller nose could open even more doors. Giving in to the pressure, Jennifer decided to undergo a rhinoplasty, a surgery she believed would enhance her career. But when she emerged, everything changed. The procedure was so drastic that even close friends didn't recognize her. The very feature that made her stand out was gone. "I went into the operating room a celebrity and came out anonymous," Jennifer famously said, summing up the devastating impact of that single decision. Instead of boosting her career, the nose job effectively ended it. Casting directors overlooked her, and roles stopped coming in. Hollywood had erased the face it once adored. Jennifer later admitted that while she didn't regret improving her self-esteem, she hadn't anticipated losing her identity in the process. It wasn't just her appearance that changed, it was how the world saw her. Today, Jennifer Grey has made peace with her past, finding success in smaller projects, and embracing her story as a cautionary tale. Her experience is a powerful reminder of how one seemingly small change, driven by industry pressure, can alter the course of a life and career forever. While Jennifer Grey's story was about losing her unique identity, for others, plastic surgery was a slow transformation, one procedure after another, until their natural beauty was nearly unrecognizable. And few stories capture that quiet tragedy better than Lara Flynn Boyle. Lara Flynn Boyle, the quest for perfection gone awry. In the 1990s, Lara Flynn Boyle was the epitome of elegance and mystery. Known for her roles in Twin Peaks and The Practice, she captivated audiences with her sharp features and striking presence. But as the years passed, Lara became another victim of Hollywood's unforgiving beauty standards, where aging isn't allowed, and perfection is always just one surgery away. By the early 2000s, fans began noticing significant changes in Lara's appearance. Her lips appeared fuller, her cheeks more pronounced, and her once delicate features seemed unnaturally altered. Though she never publicly confirmed the extent of her cosmetic procedures, the difference was undeniable. The media, as always, was ruthless, turning her transformation into tabloid fodder. Laura's story isn't unique, but it is heartbreaking. Here was a woman praised for her natural beauty, now criticized for trying to preserve it. Friends close to her hinted that the pressure to stay youthful in an industry obsessed with appearances pushed her toward decisions she might later regret. Unlike some stars, Laura chose to stay silent, never addressing the public speculation, which only fueled more rumors. Today, Laura Flynn Boyle lives largely out of the spotlight. Her career, once filled with promise, faded alongside the changing perceptions of her image. Her journey serves as a quiet warning about the dangers of chasing an impossible ideal, where every tweak leads to another, until the person staring back in the mirror feels like a stranger. While some stars chose surgery in search of perfection, others fell victim to something far worse: botched procedures and dangerous promises. Few stories are as tragic as Priscilla Presley's, whose quest to maintain her beauty led her into the hands of a con artist. Priscilla Presley, a victim of cosmetic malpractice. As the former wife of Elvis Presley and a star in her own right, Priscilla Presley was known for her timeless beauty and grace. But as she aged, like many women in Hollywood, she felt the pressure to preserve her youthful appearance. Unfortunately, her desire to stay radiant led her down a path that would leave permanent damage, both physically and emotionally. In the early 2000s, Priscilla sought cosmetic treatments from a man posing as a doctor. What she didn't know was that this so-called specialist was injecting her face with industrial-grade silicone, the same substance used to lubricate car parts. The illegal procedures left her disfigured, and by the time the truth was revealed, it was too late to reverse much of the damage. Priscilla never hid from the scandal. Through her representatives, she confirmed that she had been a victim of cosmetic malpractice, joining a list of women deceived by the same con artist. She was the victim of an unlicensed doctor, her spokesperson explained, highlighting the dangers of trusting the wrong people in an industry desperate to defy aging. Despite undergoing corrective surgeries, some effects were irreversible. Priscilla's once natural beauty became overshadowed by the tragic consequences of a decision made in good faith. Her story isn't about vanity, it's about the risks many face when trying to meet impossible standards, and how even the most careful can fall prey to dangerous promises. Some stars hide their surgeries, but others face them head-on, sometimes with humor, sometimes with heartbreak. Few embraced honesty like Joan Rivers, whose relationship with plastic surgery became as famous as her comedy. Joan Rivers, the comedian's candid confessions. When it came to plastic surgery, Joan Rivers wasn't just open, she was unapologetically outspoken. Known for her sharp wit and fearless comedy, Joan turned her many cosmetic procedures into part of her act. While other stars denied or hid their surgeries, Joan joked about them on stage, famously saying, "I've had so much plastic surgery. When I die, they will donate my body to Tupperware." But behind the humor was a deeper truth. Joan, like many women in show business, faced constant pressure to look young, especially in an industry where aging women are too often pushed aside. Starting in her 30s, she began a series of procedures, facelifts, Botox, eye lifts, that would continue throughout her life. What began as small enhancements became a lifelong cycle of chasing perfection under the bright lights. Though Joan laughed about it, she also acknowledged the insecurities that drove her choices. In interviews, she admitted that the fear of becoming irrelevant pushed her to keep going back under the knife. "Looking old in Hollywood is like being a speed bump in a racetrack," she once quipped, masking vulnerability with humor, as she always did. By the time of her passing in 2014, Joan's appearance had drastically changed from the fresh-faced woman who first took the comedy world by storm. Yet, Her legacy wasn't just about her surgeries. It was about her honesty. Joan Rivers gave a voice to the silent pressures women faced and turned her personal struggles into a conversation the world couldn't ignore. While Joan Rivers owned her choices, some stars became symbols of plastic surgery gone too far without ever saying a word. One of the most talked about transformations in the world of fashion and fame belongs to Donatella Versace. Donatella Versace, fashion icon's drastic transformation. As the face of one of the world's most famous fashion houses, Donatella Versace was no stranger to beauty standards. Known for her bold designs and even bolder personality, Donatella became as recognizable as the clothes she created. But over the years, her appearance changed so dramatically that it often overshadowed her achievements in fashion. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Donatella reportedly began undergoing a series of cosmetic procedures. Facelifts, lip fillers, Botox, that gradually altered her signature look. Her once natural features became more exaggerated, with plumper lips and tighter skin drawing constant media attention. The press was relentless, turning her transformation into a spectacle rather than a private matter. Unlike many celebrities, Donatella never openly discussed her surgeries in detail. Instead, she maintained her focus on her work, letting the world speculate while she continued to lead the Versace empire. Still, it was clear that the pressures of living in a world obsessed with image played a role in her decisions. Fashion, after all, is an industry built on appearances, and Donatella was expected to embody the brand. She once said, "I do not believe in totally natural women. For me, natural has something to do with vegetables." It was a statement that reflected both her humor and her reality, a life where beauty was currency and maintaining it felt like a necessity, not a choice. Yet, her transformation stands as a stark reminder of how even powerful women aren't immune to the endless demands for youth and perfection. While Donatella's story was shaped by fashion's expectations, others faced regret on a far more personal level. For Tori Spelling, a decision made in her youth would come back to haunt her, not just in headlines, but in motherhood. Tori Spelling, regrets rooted in motherhood. In the 1990s, Tori Spelling became a household name as Donna Martin on Beverly Hills 90210. Born into Hollywood royalty as the daughter of producer Aaron Spelling, Tori grew up under the glare of fame. Like many young actresses, she felt the pressure to enhance her appearance to fit the ideal image of beauty. In her early 20s, she chose to get breast implants, a decision she believed would boost her confidence and career. At first, it seemed harmless. Cosmetic surgery was common in Hollywood, and Tori, like many others, thought little of the long-term consequences. But years later, after becoming a mother, she revealed a painful truth. The implants affected her ability to breastfeed her children. In a candid interview, she admitted, "I got my boobs done in my early 20s, and if I had known it would impact me as a mom, I never would have done it." This regret wasn't about appearance. It was about realizing that choices made to fit Hollywood standards had personal costs she never anticipated. Tori's honesty opened up a conversation about how young women, especially in the entertainment industry, are pressured into decisions without fully understanding the future impact. Over time, Tori became more vocal about her experiences, warning others to think carefully before altering their bodies. She emphasized the importance of considering not just the immediate benefits, but also the potential lifelong consequences. Her story wasn't one of vanity. It was a reflection of how youthful insecurity mixed with industry pressure can lead to lasting regrets. Today, Tori continues to navigate life in the public eye, balancing her family and career while being open about her past mistakes. Her journey serves as a reminder that cosmetic surgery isn't always about beauty. It can leave emotional scars that go far deeper than the surface. Some stars learn from a single regret, but others fall into a dangerous cycle of chasing perfection. And no one embodies the risks of going too far, too fast, like Heidi Montag, whose story became a cautionary tale for a new generation. Heidi Montag, The dangers of excessive alterations. In the late 2000s, Heidi Montag was known as the bubbly reality star from the hills. But behind the glamorous TV persona was a young woman deeply insecure about her appearance. At just 23 years old, Heidi made a decision that would shock even Hollywood. She underwent 10 plastic surgery procedures in a single day. From a brow lift to a chin reduction, breast implants to liposuction, Heidi's transformation was extreme and immediate. At first, she embraced the attention. Headlines buzzed about her new look, and Heidi believed she had finally achieved perfection. But it didn't take long for the physical and emotional consequences to set in. The recovery process was brutal. Heidi later revealed she nearly died on the operating table and was left with lasting complications. "I made a mistake," she admitted years later. "I let my insecurity take control." The public, once fascinated, quickly turned critical. Heidi became a symbol of plastic surgery excess, with many questioning why someone so young would go to such extremes. Behind closed doors, Heidi was battling regret, chronic pain, and a fractured sense of self. The surgeries that were supposed to make her feel beautiful ended up making her feel more lost than ever. Today, Heidi Montag speaks openly about her experience, warning others about the dangers of rushing into cosmetic surgery. She's become an advocate for self-acceptance, encouraging people to embrace their natural beauty. Her story is no longer just about transformation. It's about survival, learning to live with the choices made in a moment of vulnerability, and understanding that no amount of surgery can fix what's broken on the inside. While Heidi's story was about dramatic change overnight, others found themselves trapped in a slower, more subtle cycle. For stars like Courtney Cox, it wasn't one big decision, but a series of small ones that led to a moment of painful realization. Courtney Cox, the slippery slope of fillers. For years, Courtney Cox was one of the most familiar faces on television. As Monica Geller on Friends, she was celebrated for her natural beauty and girl-next-door charm. But as the years passed, Courtney, like many actresses in Hollywood, felt the creeping pressure to stay youthful in an industry where aging women often disappear from leading roles. In an attempt to hold on to her fresh-faced look, Courtney began using dermal fillers, a decision she initially thought was harmless. But what started as minor touch-ups soon spiraled. Each visit to the clinic led to more suggestions, more tweaks. Over time, she barely noticed how much her appearance had changed. It wasn't until she saw photos of herself that she realized she no longer looked like herself. "I didn't realize I was looking really strange," Courtney confessed in a candid interview. The fillers, intended to smooth out time's gentle marks, had instead altered her natural expressions and made her face appear unnatural. The realization was a wake-up call. She made the difficult decision to have all her fillers dissolved, choosing to embrace aging rather than fight it. Courtney's honesty struck a chord in Hollywood and beyond. She spoke openly about how easy it is to get caught in the cycle of small cosmetic enhancements, especially when everyone around you is doing the same. Her story wasn't about vanity, but about the fear of becoming invisible in a world obsessed with youth. Today, Courtney Cox has reclaimed her natural beauty and encourages others to think twice before chasing perfection. She reminds us that aging is not something to be feared, but something to be lived with grace. Her journey shows that sometimes the bravest choice is learning when to stop. But not every cosmetic procedure involves going under the knife. For Linda Evangelista, a non-surgical treatment promised quick results, but instead, it left her disfigured and hiding from the world. Linda Evangelista, a supermodel's struggle with cool sculpting. In the 1990s, Linda Evangelista was one of the most famous supermodels in the world. Known for saying, "I don't get out of bed for less than $10,000 a day," she was the face of beauty, elegance, and confidence. But decades later, Linda's name reappeared in headlines. Not for a glamorous comeback, but for a devastating cosmetic procedure gone wrong. In search of a non-invasive way to maintain her figure, Linda underwent cool sculpting, a fat-freezing treatment advertised as safe and simple. But instead of reducing fat, Linda developed a rare side effect called paradoxical adipose hyperplasia, PAH, which caused hardened, swollen fat deposits to appear on her body. The condition left her permanently disfigured and emotionally shattered. For years, Linda disappeared from public life, too ashamed and heartbroken to face the cameras. When she finally spoke out, her words were filled with pain. "I am brutally disfigured. I've become a recluse." She revealed that she had undergone multiple surgeries to try to fix the damage, but nothing could fully restore her appearance or her confidence. Linda filed a lawsuit against the company behind Cool Sculpting, bringing global attention to the risks hidden behind beauty industry promises. Her bravery in sharing her story transformed her from a forgotten supermodel into a voice for those who've suffered in silence after cosmetic procedures went wrong. Today, Linda Evangelista is slowly reclaiming her life, but the scars, both physical and emotional, remain. Her story is a chilling reminder that even treatments marketed as safe can have life-altering consequences. While Linda's story was about a rare complication, others willingly walked into the dangers of repeated surgeries. For Katie Price, cosmetic enhancements became a lifestyle, one that pushed her body and reputation to the brink. Katie Price cited the perils of repeated surgeries. Katie Price, once known as glamour model Jordan, built her career on her looks. From a young age, she embraced cosmetic surgery as part of her brand: breast augmentations, lip fillers, facelifts, and more. What began as a few enhancements quickly turned into a long list of procedures, with Katie openly discussing her willingness to go under the knife again and again. Over the years, Katie underwent so many surgeries that even she lost count. From multiple breast reconstructions to risky Brazilian butt lifts, BBLs, her body became a canvas for constant change. Doctors warned her about the health risks, but Katie brushed off concerns, famously saying, "It's my body, and I'll do what I want with it." However, as time passed, the consequences became harder to ignore. Complications from surgeries left her in pain, while her appearance became a frequent target for media criticism. Each new procedure sparked public debates about addiction to plastic surgery and the societal pressures fueling such choices. Despite the warnings and the backlash, Katie has continued her journey with cosmetic enhancements, insisting that it's her personal choice. Yet, behind the confidence, many see a woman trapped by the very image she created, constantly chasing a version of beauty that keeps slipping further away. Her story is both a reflection of modern celebrity culture and a cautionary tale about what happens when surgery becomes a cycle that's impossible to break. Some stars tweak their looks, others transform, but a few become almost unrecognizable. And in the case of Jocelyn Wildenstein, her dramatic journey through plastic surgery turned into one of the most infamous transformations the world has ever seen. Fame fades, but regret can last forever. These stars remind us that behind every flawless image is a hidden struggle. In a world where beauty is currency, the cost can be far greater than anyone expects. Sometimes, the hardest thing to recover is the face you once knew.